Live from the local station, News 4 Jax starts now.
A live look for you. Once again, it's Celebration Church on Jacksonville's South Side, where hundreds of people have been gathering inside today to honor the life of 13-year-old Tristan Bailey.
Bailey was killed by a schoolmate a little more than a week ago. In light of this tragic situation, families, friends, and countless others, they have joined together to reflect on the positive impact that Bailey has had on the people who had the privilege of knowing her.
My family and I together have vowed to never let Tristan's name be lost, especially to her little niece, who was robbed of having enough time with her aunt.
Bailey's family tells us that this service is all about the support and love the family has felt from the community.
The celebration of life is about the light that Bailey has cast on her community. News 4 Jax reporter Bree Isom is joining us live from Celebration Church. So Bree, you've been closely following this story, and the outpouring of support from the community really has been overwhelming for the past week.
Yeah, so many people showed up to this service today, and the pastor actually said during the service that this is called a celebration of life because they're all celebrating that Tristan finally gets to be with Jesus. And people showed up today wearing aqua and white, her two favorite colors. They just want to honor the life that Tristan did live. And firefighters even showed up today. They put aqua ribbons on their vehicle. A plane also flew over the church with a banner that read, "Tristan Bailey Strong." Pictures of her smiling face were on screens inside the lobby of the church, and aqua and white balloons decorated the area as well. Bailey's father told us he wants this celebration of life to be for those who were close to Bailey, like her classmates and those on her cheer team. Her sisters and brothers just spoke within the past hour.
While Tristan was the baby of the Bailey 7, I thought that she didn't have any younger siblings. She only had older siblings. But something I've learned over the past several days is that is horribly incorrect. Going to multiple of the events that the cheer community has put on, listening to the retellings of the tea tellings, Tristan had an incredible amount of younger sisters in the cheer community. There was one particular story where apparently Tristan hopped into one of her cheer mom's cars and was talking, yeah, there's this girl, I'm kind of so-so, don't get along that well, but she was being picked on at school. So Tristan went over and told the other person off. And if that's not the definition of a sister, I'm telling you you're wrong. I have 4 of them. That is the definition of a sister.
Tristan, a life blessed with a loving and beautiful family. A little girl blessed with so many gifts, so much beauty, so much
We're actually going to
charm,
take a live look inside. Again, the
grace
service
and
is
your
still
love
going on.
and the gift she was to this world. Wrap your loving arms around this family, Lord, as we continue to celebrate the life of Tristan. Give us hope in Christ. Help us learn to love as we look to Christ. Help this community to reach out and love this family. We pray for your glory.
And family and friends are just excited and glad about the overwhelming support that the community's been giving them. I'm live in Jacksonville. Bree Isom, Channel 4, the local station.
Bree, thank you. Folks, at the request of Tristan's family, we live streamed this service, and we still are, on various platforms like Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV. You can continue to watch it in full or head to our website, news4jax.com. Also making news tonight, North Carolina District Attorney Andrew Womble says the fatal shooting of Andrew Brown Jr. was justified. Brown was killed by deputies in Elizabeth City April 21st while being served an arrest warrant. The DA says 2 undercover officers had previously bought cocaine and heroin from Brown, who was a known drug dealer. Womble says deputies did not discharge their weapons until Brown ignored commands and drove directly at a deputy.
After reviewing the investigation conducted by the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Brown's death, while tragic, was justified because Mr. Brown's actions caused 3 deputies with the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office to reasonably believe it was necessary to use deadly force to protect themselves and others. The law enforcement officers were duty-bound to stand their ground. carry through on the performance of their duties and take Andrew Brown into custody. They could not simply let him go, as has been suggested.
An attorney representing Andrew Brown's family says the video shown does not show Brown using his vehicle as a weapon and says Womble never adequately explained the bullet that hit the back of Brown's head.
2 South Carolina detention officers linked to the death of Jamal Sutherland have been fired. Sutherland, who was mentally ill, died in January after he was forcibly removed from his jail cell. Last week, authorities released video of Sergeant Lindsay Fickett and Deputy Brian Hole repeatedly pepper spraying, restraining and tasing Sutherland after he apparently resisted leaving the cell for a bail hearing. The case is now under review. According to a family attorney, Sutherland was taken to jail 1 day before his death on a misdemeanor offense of simple assault on a nurse staff member. A judge in Minnesota determines there is probable cause backing the case against the former police officer who fatally shot Dante Wright. Kim Potter is facing a second-degree manslaughter charge. She killed Wright at a police stop in April, claiming that she accidentally fired her weapon instead of using her taser. The judge looking over this case says she wants to expedite the case and come to a trial or resolution as quickly as possible. No trial date has officially been set yet, though.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling for an end to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Israel and Hamas in Gaza have been engaged in a week-long battle. In a statement, Pelosi voiced her support for Israel but called a ceasefire necessary. She also said both parties need to respect the rights of both the Israeli and Palestinian people. President Joe Biden is voicing his support for a ceasefire as well. Meanwhile, it appears that Israel and Gaza are heading into another tense night. A mortar strike killed 2 people and hurt 7 others near the border. In all, 12 people have been killed in Israel. 213 people have been killed in Gaza, including more than 60 children. President Joe Biden checking out some of the newest technology coming from the auto industry. The president toured the Ford Rogue electric vehicle plant. The trip comes as the president works to build public support for his multi-trillion-dollar proposals to invest in the country's infrastructure.
And when we invest in our infrastructure, we're going to buy American products, materials, services from American businesses, made in America. And we'll do everything in our power to encourage and protect the right of workers to unionize and collectively bargain.
The president is hoping to see Congress progress on his proposal by Memorial Day, which is less than 2 weeks away.
If you're 45 or older, you need to start colorectal cancer screening. That is the new guidance from the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force. The panel lowered the recommended screening age from 50 to 45 today, and a draft of the guidance came out in October. The screening for 45 to 75-year-olds will be covered by most private insurance plans with no copay. The recommendation applies to asymptomatic people of average risk with no prior diagnosis of colorectal cancer and no additional risk factors.
Actor Charles Grodin has died at the age of 86. According to his son, Grodin died today at his home in Connecticut after battling cancer. He was considered a versatile comedic actor, best known for his roles in movies like Midnight Run and The Heartbreak Kid. Along with his film and stage work, Grodin also wrote a column for the New York Daily News and gave commentaries for the news magazine 60 Minutes too. The head of the CDC is calling Monday a landmark day in the fight against the coronavirus. She says more than 4 million teens between the ages of 12 and 17 have been given their first vaccine dose, and more than half of all adults have been given at least 1 dose.
Yesterday, we had a landmark day. As the president's announced, more than 60% of people 18 years and older have received at least 1 vaccine dose. We need to continue to ensure vaccination coverage is uniform across the country. This will require us to meet people where they are, to listen to their concerns, and to help people make informed decisions about vaccination.
Overall, officials report more than 274 million doses have been administered nationwide. That's about 80% of the total doses delivered.
Mary Bear is joining us now with a look at what's coming up tonight on the 10 o'clock news. Mary?
Well, Tarek, drug officials are warning that dealers have a new way of getting close to children. Tonight, the warning signs parents need to watch out for that may seem innocent on your child's social media feeds. Plus, the latest polls say a proposed gas tax increase isn't getting traction among voters. The big push council members are making to change minds. The stories and much more when we see you tonight at 10.
Thanks, Mary.
Record-breaking rainfall turns deadly. More than a foot of rain has fallen in the southern U.S.
In 3 minutes, we explain why officials are urging people to not let their guard down just yet.
And one more look at Celebration Church. We've been watching family and friends as they've been gathering here to honor the life of Tristan Bailey. The 13-year-old was killed by a schoolmate a little more than a week ago. Her family has been receiving an outpouring of support from the community ever since Bailey's death. They say today's service is for the people who had the privilege of meeting her.
I had to write a speech down. I've winged it the past 2 times I've had to speak, but I wasn't sure how I'd do today. And I had to write it in big print because I wasn't sure I could see it on my phone. It's the age. So today I had a really hard time. And this morning I went into Tristan's room and I went there to cootle, because that's what she always asked. And I just wanted to try to be close to her and be next to her. My heart is broken and it is devastated. But I made a promise to her today that I was going to keep her memory alive. I was going to make her name shine above all the evil that has happened, and from the goodness that has poured out from her friends, our families, our community, and across the world. I make that promise that I will do something good in her name. For those of you that were blessed,
we're going to take you live back to Celebration Church. This is Tristan Bailey's mother, Stacy.
That you would like to have, and she always had your back. Tristan's determination to be front and center was evident the day that she was born, because she was the loudest one in the nursery. She was the only blonde one in the nursery, and she was just, here I am. Here I am. She had a drive in her soul to be the best and always give 100% to achieve her goals. A small story about her drive is when we put Tristan in swimming, thinking that this was an amazing sport and a life skill. And while she liked it, it was not her passion, so she moved on to lacrosse. Let's talk about that. The realization that it's really, really hot in the outdoors in Florida. And this is not her thing either. But boy, did she want to cheer. I personally could not bear the thought of going back into the cheer and dance world, as I knew the time and commitment that it took from me coaching cheer and her older siblings spending up to 6 hours a day at the cheer gym or the dance studios. But Tristan was determined to prove to me that she was going to be a cheerleader whether I liked it or not. From teaching herself how to do her splits, her back bends, her back walkovers, just to prove to me how much she wanted to be a cheerleader, I caved. And so it began. This is where her passion and drive grew to be the best she could be. Over the past couple of years, Tristan was always on All-Star Cheer and in school cheer. This year, she shared team captain on her POA cheer team with one of her besties. It was a huge goal for her. As our All-Star Cheer family knows, Summit and Worlds is your goal. Tristan's ultimate goal was to be in one of these. While at Zone All-Star Cheer, her team achieved getting that bid, but it was sadly taken away from COVID. This past year, Tristan had switched gyms to Infinity All-Stars, and she became more determined than ever to make that goal happen. These girls from Majesty worked so hard and developed a bond that is unbreakable. They won their UCA cheer competition, and that dream came alive as they got the bid to compete at Summit. Tristan, you did it. You met your goal. Her drive and passion did not stop there. When she would come home after school, I was always given the tea of the day, and a lot of it because she had a lot to say. She spilled a lot of tea. I would sit here in amazement listening to some of her stories, and I learned she was the kind of friend that I would like to have. She always defended those who could not defend themselves. Some of you may not know it, but she was very sensitive, and she never wanted to disappoint anyone. Tristan cared deeply for her friends and always wanted to have as many friends as she could. And oh my goodness, she was so funny, you guys. So funny. She could be a silly teenager, but could have heart-to-hearts with an adult like she was an adult. And I think that she truly forgot that they were my friends too. She tried to take them over. She was an honor roll student, determined to succeed academically, going as far as taking her first high school credit online this year just to get ahead in school. There are so many things I could share about this sweet girl, and in the future I will. Her TikTok, that's my squad, and you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us, because we are family. That holds true to every aspect in her life. We are forever changed as a family, but we will always be the Bailey 7. For now, I will follow what Tristan has always said. Get it together. You got this, Mom. Always and forever, my cheerleader and my sweet baby girl.
Difficult for me to know where to pick up. There's been a lot of words said, Tristan described in a lot of ways, a lot of stories shared. And I've realized that I actually enjoy keeping the Tristan that I know close to me and keeping those memories close to me. I will share a few. And one of them I've shared before, and it just struck me as everybody was talking about her determination and her drive and things like that. When she first started in cheer, and she was at Zone and she was working, and she had a coach that was challenging her. And it was tough and it was hard. And I remember talking to her, and I love those rides home from gym, and there's nothing better than when it's just you and your child in the car and you can talk, right? And talked to her, and I said, well, what do you think the motivation of the coach is? Why do you think she's doing this? What are your common goals? And we talked about it. The coach wanted her to be better. And we said each and every day she was going to turn around and she was going to go to that coach and she's going to say, thank you for believing in me. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for making me better. And Mel, thank you for being that coach. For those of you at Infinity, thank you for continuing to push her. Because those are the people that care about us, the people that bring out the best in us. And I've been very, very fortunate. I think each of my children have been touched by great coaches. In listening to this, I know there's been a lot of us, and I want to just take the blame for that. I always wanted a large family. So when Stacy and I met, I said, hey, I wanted to have 4 to 6 goals. That was 4 to 6 children. That was my goal in life. Okay? I wanted 4 to 6 children. It has been my most meaningful goal ever. And it's been the thing that has brought me the most joy in my life. And I am so proud of each and every one of my children and the blessings they are. Thank you all. And keep her with you. And with all of that, it is never lost on me each and every day that there are reasons why I've been as blessed as I have in that regard. And first of all, I've been very fortunate to have the most incredible parents who have always been there and always supported me. My wife has had an incredible parent who have always been there, and particularly Jean, everything that you've done for Stacy. And the foundation of our family, and I think Brittany said it, or it may have been Alexis, I don't know, one of the two of them. They weren't really good at the household chores because Stacy took care of everything. And the heart of our family, and the reason that our family is what it is because of my wife, Stacy. And I am incredibly grateful for you. Love you. With that, I do want to return to the element of cheer. And guys, I've been to a few cheer competitions. I didn't go to all of them. I know that that's a lot of mom-daughter trips and all of those things. The hotels really like it. You guys do great with all of the socializing too. But I've never heard a group of cheerleaders as quiet as I've heard this group. So a couple times I'm going to ask you to get really loud. Forgive me, respective pastors here. You guys killed Tristan's song list, so we got to go somewhere, okay? And with that, I really want to, kind of take a step back. And I think the big thing is last Sunday, when we were missing Tristan, we reached out and we asked for help. And was completely overwhelmed, just completely and totally overwhelmed with the amount of help that we had. And the help came from a number of places. You can see we have friends who have become family, and they were there. And that allowed me to stay at home with my family while other people were searching. So to my community, I want to say thank you. The big cheer that I need everybody up there, and I would ask everybody in the room to really join me with, is from the initial start, this team over here, the St. John Sheriff Office, they were there. It was tireless over, well, eventually they were told they had to take the weekend off to wait for information to come in because they were working around the clock. They have been in our homes. They've kept us apprised as we need to be apprised. But even though they were doing their job, they did their job with love and compassion towards us. And never at any point in time did I question that they were investigating and going through every single thing that they possibly could. So to all of you, on behalf of my family, we cannot thank you enough for everything that you and your colleagues have done. God bless you, and I would ask everybody to cheer these people. From there, once I realized that Tristan wasn't going to be coming home as we had hoped for, I asked for privacy. We didn't get it. I will just say that. But what we got is what we needed. And so immediately we had messages from so many people, and we had messages from many of you here in the room. Thank you. I learned something very, very difficult, and that is there are no words. When you give somebody your thoughts and prayers, you are giving them everything that you can possibly give them. And for everybody who has done that, thank you. That's all you can say. There are no words to say. There are no words that will heal it. So all of the messages that poured in from people all over the place, they helped us. Then we started to have the tributes that kind of came in. My son-in-law is a firefighter. Again, another group that doesn't get enough thanks. And another group that whenever called upon is there and taking care of our community. Case in point, I have no doubt that some of you that are here today were fighting that fire yesterday. So thank you again. Well, we've talked a lot about the Lord in here, and we've talked about God. Anyone who knows me knows that I also have strong roots in our Western heritage. I consider the mountains home. And as part of that, some of that comes to me. And there's been several things that have hit me this week. And there's one of my favorite stories that kind of goes around, and it's kind of told, and there's a question as to what tribe that it comes from, but it's typically attributed to a Cherokee tribe. And it goes somewhere along the line that a Cherokee older was sitting there talking with his grandson, and was talking to his grandson about the battle that goes on within us, and was talking about two wolves fighting. And he said, there is one wolf that is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other wolf is good. It's joy, peace and love, hope and serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. And the grandson posed the question to the elder and says, which wolf wins? And the elder's response is the one you feed. And that's
our coverage of the Tristan Bailey Celebration of Life continues right now on News4JAX at 7.
Privacy. I will speak for myself and say that I was filled with sorrow. I was filled with a lot of angst. but what we received was love. And so it started almost immediately. We had family coming to town. We had friends that came over. We had people bringing us food. We had the messages. We had incredible support, people letting us know what was going on with Tristan. Monday morning we woke up. We had an entire school, thank you, wear white to remember Tristan. There was a rock that was painted. Then later that evening there was a vigil that I think I heard somebody said had 3,000 people in it. And in addition to that, when we couldn't attend it, we had local news that streamed it so that we could see it. We've had the support, and then it's just grown. So the North Amenity Center has become a tribute. We've seen this color all over the place. The bows, the video tributes, ribbons, again, the food coming in, Infinity Zone having things, remembering her, stickers that came in. Again, we asked for nothing, but people so wanted to give that we've been overwhelmed with contributions that have come to the community that is going to enable us to make sure we remember her name. And we're grateful for all of this. On Friday, we had probably one of the most unexpected things when a number of the streetcar clubs decided to drive through our quiet neighborhood late in the evening, teal lights all over the place. And I understand it is a group that typically doesn't get together. They are typically doing their own things, but many of them came together to drive through to pay tribute to Tristan. We've had workouts. We've had 5Ks being organized. We've had a number of businesses that have reached out to support, and many of them have asked to be anonymous. We all have benefited because we've had our colleagues step in for us and say, don't worry about anything, worry about your family. So for all of you at Brush, we appreciate it. Rob, Christy, Omar, thank you for supporting Alexis. I've had outreaches from people all over that I've worked with, but the support that I've had from my Deutsche Bank family has been absolutely incredible, and I thank you as well. And it's always about remembering this. But I've realized this is not just about support for us. It is about support for the community. It is us saying that we're all right. It is us saying that we have love, and our love is greater than the evil that can exist in the world. So, last week I asked for privacy and didn't get it, yet it gave us the love and the support that we needed. Tonight I'm actually going to ask for something. So for all of you that knew Tristan, all of you that were on a team with Tristan, that were in class with Tristan, that were, on the rides and got the tea, I need you to do one thing. When things get difficult, when things are tough, when you want to achieve something, but it's challenging, I want you to hear one more additional voice in your head encouraging you forward. And you did that when we saw all the tributes that came in of the bows last weekend, when we saw the local teams that were wearing teal, the baseball uniforms. We want you to continue that further and really take her name to heart and hear her cheering you on. So I would ask that for each of you. For everybody who's here in the audience and anybody who's watching virtually, I have another request. We've had a number of people reach out, and I've had a number of very dear friends who unfortunately are part of the same unfortunate brotherhood where they've lost children. And there's many people that have lost loved ones. Please, if you can, today, tomorrow, the next few days, give them your love, because it never goes away. They're always going to be hurting. It's always within them, and they need to feel the love that we've had an opportunity to feel this week. So please, please, please show them your love.